My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is in the world, wherever you are tuning in from. I've just seen, just in the last 45 seconds, Damien, I've just seen an interview with Sumit Nagal, advertised, if you like, from, I think the podcast is called the Changeover Podcast. And the question I can see on there is the one question I wanted to ask, but either forgot or didn't get round to it when I spoke to Sumit about 5 or 6 weeks ago in Hagen. Can you guess what topic I missed that's kind of a big thing in his resume for the broader tennis audience?
The Federer, US Open, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the first thing that came to mind was like finances. There was that kind of like viral article with Sumit.
I addressed that.
Like $900 in his pocket or something like that, right? But if you phrase it like that, like the moment when the big audiences could have seen him, then yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah, exactly. And I missed it. I was in a hurry to get a particular bus, and he was practicing, and I was thinking, when's your practice going to finish? Because we'd kind of set up, not 100%, but we'd sort of set it up to happen after his practice. And it was 12 minutes anyway, so that's a decent length, you know. But I wanted to get, and of course it is semi-topical because it's 6 years ago since that match. I remember just thinking, oh, he's got a name a bit like Nadal. That's what I thought at the time.
That was, I think, the entire like kind of ring to it as well, right? That everybody was saying, "Oh, look, Federer and Nadal are finally playing at the U.S. Open," but not really. And of course, it's super humid. Like Federer is like drenched in sweat for the first rounds in the night sessions. What was it, like Nagal and somebody else that pushed him pretty deep?
Oh, Dimitrov he lost to, wasn't it?
Dimitrov he lost to, but I was like,
John Millman.
John Millman, that was the fourth round the year before.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking of the first 2 rounds in 2019. But anyway, yeah, that's not really too important right now. Either way, definitely a match that I remember watching at night and just, yeah, it was a nightmare for a Federer fan for sure.
That year I had tickets for the final, the men's final, and I flew on the very early on the Saturday morning, I think from Dusseldorf, which is about an hour and a half from where I live, and blah, blah, blah. The point is this, I had to leave at about 1 or 2 in the morning from my home to catch that flight. Now, I left midway through, or 2/3 of the way through, Nadal Berrettini, and obviously given my support for one of those two players and hoping to see them battle it out with, I think Medvedev had played first, so I think he was already in the final. Yeah, I forget who he beat in that semi, actually.
Dimitrov, you just mentioned it.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So, okay, so anyway, so yeah, he wins that, and anyway, but Nadal, the first set was pretty lengthy, it was a tiebreak, and it was as close as Berrettini got in terms of that match. But I remember watching the third set on Google Scores and just hoping that one of the two would seal the deal. Well, obviously, you know who that was. Anyway, that's that. I do want one more slightly quirky thing to talk about because I was listening to a football podcast just moments ago, and I wonder if Damien can recognize any of these voices. I've turned it up.
No, I mean, I won't be able to. Like, not by voices. I don't listen to like, all these like, I don't know, Roy Keane-ish, Jamie Carragher.
One is Roy Keane. One is Roy Keane, but this is Jamie Carragher with a strong Scouse accent as well.
Exactly. Like these are the guys I mentioned because I know they are some of the biggest pundits right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't listen to like content like that too much, so I wouldn't be able to recognize them by their voices. When they were playing, when I was like 6 or whatever, I obviously also wouldn't because, well, I saw them on the pitch, but not really when they were talking.
Yeah, okay. Good title
Roy
for an
Keane,
all-
though, I think I just barely. I mean, I probably more or less missed Roy Keane. He was phasing out by when I started watching. Carragher was more of a figure still.
Got it. Yeah, Roy Keane left United or was sacked, basically, I think, in some ways in 2000, or let go, whatever. Anyway, 2004, I think. No, 2005, December 2005. All right.
Definitely played a season for Celtic, so still had
Yes,
that.
exactly. Let's bring it back to tennis and then also bring it to the present. But who won the US Open in 2005? I guess Federer, right? Was
Yeah,
that his
5 in a
first?
row.
Was that his first?
No,
or
no.
something?
2004, he also won 5 in a row.
And who won
And
the
actually,
women's
nobody
title that
has
year?
defended the title since.
Right, yeah. Who won the women's title that year?
Oh my, that's a tougher one. 2005. I mean, it's easy to say one of the Williams sisters, right? I
Yeah,
think it actually is one of the Williams sisters.
probably is. Yeah.
Davenport would be the other option, but I don't think she won the US Open in 2005. I think it is one of the Williams sisters, but God, forbid, I don't want to guess.
Oh, no. The runner-up was Mary Pierce and the winner, Kim Clijsters.
Oh, Clijsters. Okay. Yeah.
She won
I
it
only
twice.
remember her later titles, yeah.
She probably won it twice about 10 years apart, or am I wrong? Am I getting a bit carried away with the distance?
About 5, I would say, rather
Okay.
than 10, but yeah.
All right, well, we've got tennis, and now let's bring us to 2025. Where shall we start? Let's start on. I've started on the women's side the last couple of times I've done
4
this.
years, by the way, I just realized.
Oh,
right?
is that all?
Because,
Okay.
or
All right.
no, sorry, 5, because Stosur won 11. Never mind. It's not too important. Yeah, 5 years, I think.
Cool. Let's start on the men's side. I've done the women's side first a couple of times recently, just because I think there was a few more headlines. I'm not really sure what the big headline is, so I'll just start at the top of the draw. That makes it a little bit easier. Although actually, Sinner Popperin would have been 2 days ago, right? Yesterday was the Alcaraz and Djokovic.
Just to be clear, I know we're not talking about this anymore,
Sure.
but I just checked, and I mean, well, she won it both 4 and 5 years later.
Oh, okay. Which was the Serena Williams I Want to Kill You one?
2009, 2009.
2009, okay. So she won it 3 times. I didn't even know that. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry, kid. All right. I mean, in a way, there is a top half element to today's show because we've got Sinner, Shapovalov, we've got Bublik, Paul. I think that those matches obviously coming up later on today. I think is there any element of interest to Sinner Shapo? Shapo is someone who could just blast his way to a set, no?
You'd think so, but then again, if he blasts his way into a set, I don't really know, what he does further from there. Popyrin, I think, is a good example of like what we're seeing right now with Yannick, where I just don't think you can play him, in the normal way. I don't think you can come out and try to beat him off the ground, try to like play better strokes than him because you just don't. You just don't have that. You don't have a better serve return game. I don't really know what these guys are supposed to do. Shapovalov, I suppose, is at least more aggressive. You can see him like, I don't know, closing down the net and just playing that kind of very reckless tennis that he can do. But actually against Sinner, he has to do it. Like, I don't think there's any point in him slowing things down for this particular match. He's been a mess this event, Shapovalov. I think the YA match was, especially the opening set. So, yeah, I mean, it was quite a journey. It always is with him. I just don't think he has the particular set of skills to like make Sinner uncomfortable enough. But yeah, I suppose there's at least a little intrigue. Like if Shapovalov wins this match, it's going to be an absolutely like breathtaking performance. I think we know that. It's going to be Nadal, Montreal, 2017, that kind of thing.
Got it.
And it's sad that I'm mentioning a match from 8 years ago, but I literally don't think I've seen a better performance from him since. So
yeah. Oh, bless. I mean, he did put himself, I don't remember the performance being particularly memorable, but I did put himself in a very good position against Nadal on clay in Rome in 21, I think it was. Was he maybe a double breakup in the deciding set? And I think he may have even had a match point as well during the second set tiebreak. something like that, or maybe it was the deciding. Whatever, there was lots of closeness. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. There is one other thing I want to ask you about this. Has Sinner got any kind of record against lefties that could give Chapo some hope, or has Sinner just got a regular, I win 80% of my matches against lefties?
I believe it's 15-1 since the start of the 2023 season.
Oh, okay, since the 23 season, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has a loss to Chapo, the only match they played.
Yeah,
I guess the only funny thing there is like he also had a 0-1 record against Popperin, and was also like years back. I think it's pretty clear that it doesn't really matter right now. They had a 5-setter at a slam though. I suppose that makes it a bit more fun. But yeah, one loss since 2023, and I think you should know who he lost to. You in particular should know who he lost to. I don't mean that it's Rafa. No.
But it's not Liam Brody either.
No, but it's somebody you really enjoy. So
has he lost to Shelton in that period?
Yeah, Shanghai 2023.
Okay, yeah.
That was when he won Beijing, of course, the post-puke. Like, that was a puking tournament, and then he came to Shanghai, was a little tired, lost to Shelton. But that's it, 15-1 since 2023.
I think Shelton could be the biggest headline from yesterday in a way, but I want to come to him in a moment. We've got Bublik Paul also today, and I guess given if you read between the lines, and maybe you don't even need to do that much investigating to what you just said, is that why you just think that Bublik could be the spanner in the works for Jannik en route to potentially even the final?
I don't know if I believe that he will be on hard courts. I think it's much tougher than Halle, but nonetheless, that's at least a guy where you want to see it. You know, you want to see how Bublik approaches the match. That's somebody who's not going to be able to, he's not just going to come out and try to play Jannik the normal way. And that's amazing. So I want to see that much. I don't want to see another Sinner-Paul matchup, because that would be another encounter where you know everything before it starts. And I actually think we're going to get it. Like, I feel very strongly about Bublik here. He's just been like so locked in, so disciplined, so focused. I know he cracked at Wimbledon, but to me, he just looks a lot better now. You know, took a month off, doesn't have the same kind of pressure, even though he also won 2 titles in a row. He's also on a win streak. I don't think that he has the same kind of pressure on him as he did at Wimbledon. I think we're going to get this match, especially after Tommy, has had some injuries, should be pretty wiped out after the Borges clash as well. And at least that's something. Like Sinner Bublik, there is intrigue in it.
I just think, and you can, obviously you will disagree with me if you think I'm wrong. I think Bublik, if I could choose a surface against Sinner to be a bit left field, it would be grass. And of course, he beat him on grass, didn't he, in Halle? And I think hard court would be the next choice, of course. And we saw them at the French Open. The French Open match was funny in that the second set was kind of what we hoped the whole match would be. I think it was the second set. Or was it the third? Either the second, I think it was the second set.
I think it was the second. Yeah, it was like 7-5, and the other ones were like 6-1 or 6-love.
And the third set got to 5-love as well. So it sort of felt like from that moment, Bublik arrived, if you like, and then eventually went away in the third. But yeah, grass, I think I'd be more excited.
Oh, of course. I mean, there's no way to disagree with that. It's just the surface, just like clay. I actually don't know if clay or hard would be even my answer to the second part of this, because both clay and grass as a natural surface, I just think they leave a lot more like flexibility to the game, and the inventiveness you have to show on both surfaces. Of course, with the speed and the low bounce as well, grass works best. But I would actually kind of wonder if clay or hard is the better answer there. Like an altitude clay court like Madrid, I would probably take over a hard court for the Sinner Bublik matchup to be exciting. But anyway, I mean, grass is obviously first.
So looking at this section of the draw, when it first emerged, so the next section I'm looking at, which is going to be Musetti, Caboli, Munar Bergs, I was thinking to myself, Jack, you lucky boy, in that you're struggling a bit with an injury. You haven't played much tennis. You're probably relying on having a good first couple of rounds so you can ease yourself into the tournament and ease yourself back into form. And I looked at this section and I was thinking, okay, Diallo maybe, and then perhaps Brooksby, Mpechi, Pedicard, Musetti. And by the way, all of these, Mpechi, Pedicard, Brooksby, Musetti would be potential fourth round. So you'd at least get them in the second week. But, of course, we know what happened to Jack. And so as a result, we're going to have one of Munar or Bergs, plus Diallo losing, of course, Munar or Bergs in the second week of a Grand Slam. And a hard court one as well, although I guess Bergs is decent on a hard court, I don't think. And Munar's made some steps forward this year.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't made it there, but it's not like it's something outrageous to see them here. If you see the entire section, it was kind of just like all Jack. So if Jack is out, it's funny. Like you would think that Zizou has a better ceiling on hard courts than Munar, but of course Jaume has gotten himself to be like much more tricky. Also, before Wimbledon, Munar had that insane record of like 0-11 in Grand Slam second rounds, and now he's made a third round at Wimbledon. Now maybe even the fourth round at the U.S. Open. Zizou has just been Zizou has been playing pretty poorly since that Hertogenbosch final, right? So if he can like turn it around and find something here, it would be beautiful. Of course, by now he's kind of just like gotten some. Yeah, I mean he's one of the most lucky players in the draw, not having to face Draper and facing Tseng in the opening round, who's now 0-7 in slams. But yeah, I mean it's a great opportunity. I don't know if he's going to be able to take it because he just hasn't been playing at a particularly high level, and we know how tricky Jaume Munar is. It could actually be that like Musetti, we've spoken so much about him, ATP race, how he isn't really amassing points, and ATP finals might be difficult to get. I mean, with 400 points for a quarterfinal here, the conversation kind of shifts, and so far it's kind of looking like that kind of. Well, we had Draper as the big seed in that section who was supposed to like clean it up. And now Musetti seems like it's possible for him to just do it, just under the radar without any expectations. Quarterfinals, thank you, 400 points. And big help towards the end of the season for him if he does that.
I'm screwing my face up because I've just thought about the quarterfinal. So it's Musetti, Caboli, Munar or Bergs against probably Yannick Sinner.
Yeah. No much. I mean, Musetti, of course, Sinner, we would like to see that on clay.
Yeah, sure, on a different surface. Yeah, why not?
But not here.
Especially, but
we haven't seen it in a while, right? I mean, Sinner and Musetti, I don't think. Well, definitely not this season.
US Open. It used to be my favorite slam, and I'm not talking about the atmosphere or visiting or New York itself, but just in terms of the way it used to deliver until 23 was a flat one, I think 24 as well. So it's up. The 2022 was the Alcaraz first slam, Tiafoe semi-final and Alcaraz Sinner
24 hours on the court for Carlos. Yeah,
exactly. It was just a wild tournament. Nadal, of course, was a narrative of sorts as he chased 23, etc. But since then it's really failed to deliver, and I fear it might be the same this year. Of course, we've got Alcaraz on the other side of the draw as well. In fact, that can help us, I think. No, not quite. We've still got we've got Felix against Zverev also today, and of course Wong against Rublev. Are you excited by one or both of these matches? I think if you are excited by either, it'll be Wong Rublev, will it?
Yeah, a lot more. I mean, I want to see how Coleman does. Kind of expecting a similar match like Boyer Rublev. Like, there's going to be patches where Coleman just plays, very aggressively, hits his spots and everything, and probably takes something. But like Rublev is still a super high base level player, and I don't really know if this is really doable for him in the long run in a best of 5 set format. Kind of just expecting the same as we've been getting from Andre all week. And Felix Zverev is one of these like matchups that we've seen so much of already. It's never been a particularly good one in terms of like contrast of styles or whatever. Felix has a very similar record against all these lost gen players. So Zverev, Rublev, Medvedev, Tsitsipas, loses to them like 80% of the time. I don't feel like either of these matchups ever excited me in the slightest, to be fair. So I'm also not really going to watch that one today.
Okay, there are some other matches as well, and maybe Maishik Greedy is that your pick of the day for fun matches to watch?
Probably. I mean, I don't think it's only a Polish perspective either. Like kind of like Bergs Munar, a big opportunity for either player. Reedy, of course, if not for all the injuries, I do think he would be deep inside the top 100 right now. He's getting something finally, breaking some wild records with how low he is ranked at the moment. But obviously, that's just kind of fake. He started his season in May and I think finished the last one maybe at the US Open, actually. And yeah, for Kamil, it's also a major opportunity. He's been talking all about how he wants to be like, top 50-ish, and with this win, he would be. Beating Khachanov was by far the biggest moment of his career. 5 match points saved, first top 10 win, I think also first top 20 win. Also a matchup that has gotten him like so much pain in the past. 0-4 against Karen, including Wimbledon 4th round. So also if he can like make back-to-back Grand Slam second weeks here, that's just absurd. So yeah, I mean, that might be the closest of the matches today on paper, which also makes it one of the most exciting. Of course, it's not going to be one that gets a big court, gets a big news like headline, but it is actually what we love slams for, I think, rather than Yannick Sinner. Well, Sinner Shapovalov, okay, I'll give it a bit of a pass, but Zverev already seen, for example.
Is de Minaur in the quarters without too many troubles, do you think?
Could be. I think that's what it was looking like from the very beginning, to be fair.
Yeah.
Maybe Khachanov, you would have an idea that, that could be
Tsitsipas
something.
as well has got a really good record, I think, against de Minaur.
Yeah, I didn't care about that, to be fair, but he does.
No.
Yeah, 13-2 against Alex. They've played a billion times. One of these losses is not even tour level. It's Serbian qualifying, I think. And then the other was maybe Acapulco a year ago or something like that. So yeah, definitely, I think the tide could kind of shift right now in terms of this matchup if they do play more, simply because Alex is in such a good spot and Steph isn't. But yeah, de Minaur is just exactly what you expect from him, right? 4 good matches, not particularly like strong level of opposition. Definitely not in the first 2 rounds. It's gonna ramp up a little bit now. But I don't know. Even with all the limitations of his game, he's just so solid.
Yeah, I agree. I want to now address something that I was talking about in the WhatsApp group last night. And Damien, you can obviously disagree, or you can just think I'm going to sit this one out because I don't have any strong opinion on it. But I'm pretty outraged by the lack of outrage regarding what Tsitsipas said,
at the net.
Did to Altmaier at the net. And I'm outraged for, I think, 3 reasons. One, because we've just seen one tennis player get heavily sanctioned, at least financially anyway. And I think there might have been 2-pronged sanction for Medvedev. But I know one, or it might have been just 2 separate fines for 2 different incidents.
Yeah, I think it's 42K in total, yeah.
Yeah, one was, I guess, for the racket smash at the end. Is that right? Or...
well, one was definitely for the, I don't know how you call it, instigating, delaying the game, and the other was probably for
the crowd and
like something more regular, like racket abuse or something like that. Yeah.
Right. I felt as though maybe he did cross a line, and I'm okay with the fines, for example. What I will say though is I understood both players being really annoyed by what happened, but I can understand him being annoyed because it is a huge moment of a match that, this is Medvedev, that could be decided by the finest of margins, and the finest of margins being getting your first serve back through something that the player hasn't done on the opposite side of the net to deserve that second serve back or get the 2 serves back, etc., etc. So I can understand that because that could decide the match, So I can understand his annoyance that occurred. And blah, 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 etc., etc. Anyway, that's the Medvedev situation. Tsitsipas. Now, Tsitsipas threatens to basically physically assault someone if they do something again. And what is the something that they did to really get Tsitsipas's ire? They did an underarm serve in the 4th set. And it's 48 hours almost since that match finished. And I've seen no outrage.
The physically assault is a little bit of a...
Okay, physically attack, whatever.
Like, no, I'm just trying to say that I think he meant that he was going to hit him with a ball at the net or something like that, right? Like, that's how I understood it.
I'm going to hit you. I don't know.
Yeah, because Stefanos said that, if you do this again, don't be surprised if I hit you. And I didn't watch the match in full, definitely not. So I was just assuming that maybe there was a ball when Altmaier was at the net and Stefanos was like, aiming through the middle of the court. I don't know. That's how I understood it.
Okay.
And, in that sense, I don't think that he meant that he would hit him with his fist or whatever. Why I have very little problem with it is I just kind of, I watched it and I was like, okay, Stefanos was salty. Like, that's it. Sometimes you get like that after a loss. It's not great. It's definitely not good behavior. If somebody still in the year 2025 has a problem when their opponent is serving underarm, I mean, that's you. That's on you. That's not on the opponent. Obviously, it has become very much, very much normal. Like, nobody thinks it's out of the etiquette anymore. At least that's what I would think. And to me, it was just a salty comment made after the game. It happens, Djokovic, Nardi, or whatever, like that kind of thing. That's how I'm treating it.
Okay, I've said my piece. I think he crossed a line, and I'm not. And there won't be any sanction, I'm sure. But anyway, let's move on because I think we've both said what we think on that. Okay, talking of Djokovic, in a way, Djokovic and Shelton for me, in some ways, were the headlines from yesterday for different reasons. Djokovic, I only saw bits of this match, and by the way, just coming the Tsitsipas Altmaier match, I saw about 2/3 of it. But anyway, I did want to just say that. Djokovic Norrie, I saw bits of the first set and a half, and Djokovic was serving. Or maybe it's just Norrie's inability to return. I think it's always difficult to know which, but he was hitting his spots and he was hitting them with venom. And it was just ace after ace after ace. I think he probably eased up in the end, and I think it finished at about 17. But at one point it was 8 or 9, at least when I switched over to a different match, because I just was finding it quite boring, as I feared it might. But I think the bigger headline maybe is Djokovic's back issues. At least he said he's very concerned about them. But he did win in 4 sets. I'm actually surprised he dropped a set in a way.
I mean, first of all, I didn't see the match, so I don't even know what back issues we're mentioning. It was late at night. It was a Djokovic Norrie match.
I think at one set all he had a back, some back issues, and he also had some attention to it. And he's referenced it post match by saying how concerned he is by it.
Sure. I mean, Novak has said a few times this year that at the slams this season, it's like not really a coincidence, right? That he's getting 5-6 matches in and then something cracks. Maybe it's another episode of that. I don't know. Obviously, Tiafoe losing, I think, is a good win for him already. Struff, I've seen them play many times, and it's kind of like whenever Jan was in really good form. I don't know if he is right now. This event has been fantastic for sure, and including yesterday. But even when he was in really good form, let's say 2020 US Open, and people were excited for that third round, and Struff just comes out, the pace isn't enough through the middle of the court, and he just tries to add more. And yeah, sure. But, it's a 6-3, 6-3, 6-1 win, I think, there. And just kind of expecting not much again.
I'm pleased for Struff in that I thought he was done a year ago with the hip issues and stuff, and I didn't see him winning 5 sets at Grand Slams like he did against Holger Rune. This draw for Djokovic, by the way, it started, I thought, like when I first, it first came out, I was like, woo, Djokovic getting a tricky first week at a slam, potentially for the first time. I thought Lerner-Teen.
First round at a slam. I mean, I think we were only concerned about the first round, right?
Really? I thought I was also thinking of players like, I think Brooksby's in this section.
No, he's not.
No, okay, maybe not Brooksby. But I was looking at Rune. I was looking at Tiafoe.
Yeah, but that's second week, Tiafoe and Rune.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, for the first 4 rounds I was looking at, and there was another one I thought. Oh, Korda was in and amongst this as well, I think, somewhere. Maybe first.
Yeah, but that was never going to be a problem. Or Mickelson.
No. Oh, Mickelson. That was the other one as well, yeah.
Come on.
Mickelson, I remember having a set point on a hard court against him a year or two ago.
You just like him, and that's why you think that would be tricky. It wouldn't. Lerner was the toughest match in the first 3 rounds. And now it just kind of looks like Roland Garros again.
Okay, moving on to other things that did occur yesterday anyway. We had Mahac winning in straight sets, Fritz winning in 4 sets. Did you see either of these 2 matches?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch Mahac Blanchet. I didn't think it was necessary, and I think I was proven right. Kim, I didn't watch against Fritz. I mean, Taylor, it's like kind of like ADM, very different play style, but you know exactly what you're going to get. Super efficient. It's going to be enough. It's going to take a while for him to even get to somebody that he can possibly lose to. But maybe Mahac is that guy. I mean, he's been retiring and withdrawing out of events all year, basically, since Acapulco. But last year he made the fourth round at the US Open without dropping a set. Does it again. Has been fantastic. I mean, talent-wise, I think he absolutely has the chance to win this. Maybe he doesn't fall apart, but also he has to execute, and Taylor is much, much, much safer. He actually had match points already against Fritz this year and then retired, which hopefully isn't exactly the story that we're going to see here.
Fair enough. If you see me squinting and squirming, by the way, as though I've just seen Yannick Sinner's draw to the final, post potentially Bublik, it's because I also have Manchester United against Burnley on my screen in front of me. I knew it was kicking off at 4:00, but I knew that I could get away with being unprofessional because Damien can carry me. All right.
Grimsby Town were a much tougher opponent.
Yeah, I know. Talking football some other time, or talking United specifically, quite potentially. Oakley Dokley, let's race on through then. Yeah, so I sort of had Shelton as my headline from yesterday. Manarino, I think, made me laugh when he said he's never won a match in the toilet before. And Manarino, actually, talking of toilets, he's obviously got a toilet thing going on because he finds the whole thing very giggly. Because I remember seeing a podcast with him earlier on this year where he was just laughing about the first round or the first day or two at the French Open and just seeing everybody in the cubicles. He found that really, he just kept giggling. Yeah, everyone's in the cubicles on the first day because they're obviously very nervous about that first match, blah, 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 blah. And once again, he brought up the toilet again because he was in the toilet yesterday when he won his match against Ben Shelton. So that's funny, and I'm very pleased for Adrian because there's a lot of things I like about him. I think he's a very quirky guy in just about every manner. I mean, from his racket tension to his string tensions to the way he plays.
Manarino.
What did I say?
No, I'm just saying Manarino as a combination of manner,
Oh, okay. I thought I'd said Mahach or something crazy.
No.
Okay. Anyway, but switching the attention to Ben, I mean, it's also because we could have had a quarterfinal with Alcaraz.
I know. I picked Ben to win it, so
I know.
Now we're not getting a single match for Carlos until the semis, probably. Yeah.
Who's he got in the semis potentially? Oh, Djokovic.
Fritz, Djokovic, yeah.
Nice.
I just don't really know what to say. Unfortunate for sure. He was in great form. He was potentially going to get to Alcaraz again. I think he would have. And then we'll see if Sinner twice this year. Of course, he lost to him at slams, Alcaraz once, but maybe on hardcourt against Carlos, he would have had a shot. I actually believed in it. I do agree with Manarino as well that I think Ben was winning the match without the injury.
Manarino said that, did he?
Yeah, he did say that. That said, I appreciate the effort that he's done over the last 2-3 months, Manarino.
Yeah.
You said something about Struff being done. First 5 months of the year, Manarino looked like this was going to be retirement. Bercy, I think, would be a good tournament for him to retire. Right now, I think it's pretty clear he's not doing that. I mean, since the start of the grass swing, he's been fantastic again. And what she said as well about how quirky he is and pretty much everything, that's actually an asset. And I think the fact that he doesn't really bother to know who his next opponent is, obviously has a very different way of stringing his racket, very different way of even hitting the ball than anyone else. That's good.
Moving as well.
People get confused by that. Yeah, he's like a Shaolin monk or whatever. And I think he's going to be a big threat for Lehečka, or somebody who doesn't think on the court, really.
Yeah. I'm all here for Adrian Manarino to win the US Open. That would be just be amazing. Of course, it's not
just to make the quarters. First time in his career at 37. I'm pretty sure that would be a record. I haven't checked it, but there's no way that somebody else has had a first quarterfinal at 37 years of age.
Collignon, I've just seen this score. Actually, it's the first time I'm seeing it. Lost in straight sets to Lehečka. Collignon, that means, of course, we all know the highlight of his career was getting to the One Open semis. But good to see him get to the third round as well. By the way, Manarino Lehečka, that's the end of Manarino's run, is it?
I don't know. I mean,
I think he's got
it's very open to me.
Okay.
Lehečka,
for me, Lehečka and Mahach is a combination of health and perhaps even attitude. And I'm thinking a bit more.
I don't really care about the health for Lehečka. I think he's been pretty fit.
Okay.
But he doesn't really think much on the court. He doesn't apply his game the best. I mean, on return, he can be such a mess just, because he cannot really do it with any margin. Some of the losses this year have been pretty tragic, like Wimbledon, for example. I know he also had some high expectations after Queens, but I don't know. I just feel he's the kind of guy who, against a veteran like this, will not have the easiest time.
I don't know. Maybe the health thing. Then the mind can play tricks on it for sure. And I just think every time I think Lehecka's playing well and really, becoming a threat, he goes and gets injured. And maybe it's Madrid 24, and it might just be that.
Yeah, I think that's literally just the one example.
Okay.
Really, when he went out for 3 months there. But like this season, it's been more like just tragic performances. Anytime he has a chance to do something, right? I mean, Djokovic at the Australian Open, that was supposed to be a cracker. I'm not even gonna talk about Sinner at Roland Garros. That was the one where he was like happy to win one game or something like that. Talent is there.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he's probably gonna break the top 20 after this tournament. So it's not like he isn't improving in some capacity, but it would be amazing for him to win this and then also push Carlos, which he's done before. I just don't know if at a slam he will be able to repeat it.
Lehecka top 10 at some point in his career. I mean, he's not far away, so
Yeah, probably. There were a lot of shouts like that in 23 already when he made that Aussie Open quarterfinal. Yeah, I think it's very possible.
Oh yeah, of course,
Clearly has the talent to do it. Probably out of the 3 Czechs, he'd be like number 2 on the list. Mahac, we'll see if he can get there. Health is a bit of a struggle for sure.
You think Mahac's got a bigger ceiling than Lehecka?
No, I mean Mahac would be the third of the,
okay.
3, I suppose, and Lehecka probably second in line.
Mensik first.
Yeah, I mean he's just much younger and so much room to grow.
Yeah. Oakley Dokley. Moving on down in the all-French affair, we had Rinderknecht coming through in 4 sets yesterday over Bonzi. Alcaraz, only issue for him at the moment was the knee. Attention he got to his knee. I think he brushed it off, though, both in terms of winning the 3rd set 6-love, because I think it happened after the 2nd set, and also brushed it off in terms of those comments afterwards, saying nothing to worry about, because I think it's the only thing that's probably going to stop him from getting to the semis. Who was it we said could be his quarterfinal? Lehecka, right?
Yeah. He's lost to him already this year, pushed in Queens too. Although you could argue that actually he wasn't pushed in Queens, like he lost like 10 points on serve maybe, but it was a 3-setter nonetheless.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lehecka maybe could do something. Rinderknecht, I don't really buy it. He did also play Carlos very close, 2023 Queens, but first match on grass after the Ibiza holiday. I think this is going to be a bit different for sure. And the way that Carlos is pushing for the tournament so far, very easy draw, but also just not his style, really. Usually it's a bit more arduous than this.
A lot of press conference questions can either be a bit too PR, a bit too irrelevant, a bit too silly as well, and maybe even just really beyond silly, a word stronger than silly, stupid, I guess. But I did like this question put to him yesterday about English.
I just watched that like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked his minute-long response because I've seen at close quarters his English get a bit better, but I also like it in just the way he comes across. He's very direct. He's amusing. He doesn't seem to have had the media training that we see for a lot of people. At least if he has, he's just ignoring it because he's still very much himself. Now, I know this is not just language, it's also his character, but I like the way he was very frank. In 24, at the beginning of 24, I spoke to him in Argentina, and he just spoke about the doubts that he was having on court, especially when he was just down 15-30 in a service game, for example, and those doubts would creep in as he was going through a little mini rough spell before winning in Indian Wells a few weeks later. And I just like him in general. I think he's a fun conversation, and he's fun because he's frank and he's not had that personality drain from him, and hopefully it never is. And I've got my fingers crossed a bit more now than a couple of years ago because he does seem to be his own person in this respect.
Yeah, I mean he does come across as very authentic for sure. I mean the minute long answer that you just talked about when I was watching that like 30 minutes ago, I just had a smile on my face the entire time because it's just that kind of guy, right? Who just, I don't know, makes it fun for everybody else in the room. which is nice. I think both like he and maybe Feast as well when they were coming up, like we kind of were aware that these are massive talents, but their English was just almost non-existent. And basically, at first, like you couldn't get to know them, like who they are as people. And right now, they've both improved, obviously, throughout kind of just like being on tour and press conferences, interviews, and stuff. And I feel like we got to know a lot more about the both of them, the good and sometimes the bad, but first and foremost definitely the good. And yeah, I mean Nadal was obviously when he was coming up kind of similar, right? That people just didn't know who the guy was really at first.
No,
because he shows up in that sleeveless T-shirt, he beats Federer in Miami, but doesn't speak a word of English. But
no, and
later on he picks it up, of course.
Even a year later, after the final in Miami, I think when it's a runners-up speech as well, he doesn't want to. I don't think he either doesn't want to, or he's just like encouraged to do some Spanish for largely. There's a lot of Spanish speakers, of course, in Miami. I think that was part of it. But I'm also thinking of 2003. Was it when he beat Agassi at Wimbledon? Maybe.
Yeah, third round at Wimbledon, his debut.
Because he played, I think, once or twice at Wimbledon before he even played the French.
Yes.
So
that's why he has that record. I mean, the reality is that if he started playing the French in 2003, he wouldn't have got his record.
16, yeah, maybe.
But I think he was injured for the French in 2004, and then 2003 maybe he didn't have the ranking yet. I don't know.
But so which one? When was it he played Agassi? Either 03 or 04. It was Agassi's last
first
match.
one, right? The tournament debut in 2003. Okay. But maybe it's 2004. He had a run anyway in his Grand Slam debut at Wimbledon 2003. Yeah.
And the point I want to make is it's tough because he's trying to say some words because Agassi and him do a very unusual at the time. Both of them do a sort of on-court interview, but he's sort of ushering the person to speak and ask questions to Andre, partly because, well, no, entirely because Andre's retiring, but also because he just doesn't have the words. He's like, it's all about Andre is what he wants to say, but he struggles to get it out. Even 5 years ago, there is a sort of quirky thing with him.
What do you mean by retiring?
Say again?
What do you mean by retiring?
Wasn't that Andre's last match at Wimbledon?
Oh, then that must be like 2006 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
That you're talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, but
yeah, I mean, he lost to Rafa in 2006, but that's like way later.
So it's then anyway for sure because his English is still not evolved as it did. And even in 2020, I think it was at the Australian Open, there's one of those pre-Australian Open sort of fun events, charity events, whatever. As I see Mbeumo go through on goal and miss. Anyway, there's a bit where the TV guy says, "Okay, Rafa, just say after me, back to you in the studio." And he's like, "What?" Everyone laughs because it's just funny because he obviously doesn't understand what "back to you in the studio" kind of means, or he doesn't catch it. But anyway, back to Alcaraz. Yeah, long may it continue, and maybe his run as well as we see him tweeting here, albeit in Spanish. But I love to hear what Carlos has got to say, even in press conferences. Okay. We haven't done the women's side yet. Let's do it. Sabalenka, I saw bits of the second set as it got really tight. I expected Arena to come through, probably with this kind of scoreline. I don't really know what to say about Layla right now because she wins Washington and then doesn't really back it up. But losing to Sabalenka, I mean, that's on a hard court. 98% of the tour are losing to Arena Sabalenka on a hard court. So, yeah, maybe Layla has made some step forwards, especially in terms of her serve. I do think her serve was a little bit less vulnerable yesterday, and she at least got to a second set tiebreak. But Sabalenka was able to avenge her loss that she had at the US Open in 21. I quite liked Arena's comments. Like, I know I've got to win this match because she beat me in 2021, but I don't really remember it, Arena said. As in, like, patterns of play and
yeah, it was like 4 years ago. I mean, that kind of says something that she doesn't remember it because it's irrelevant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I liked what Fergus said, actually. It was a really weird stream you guys did yesterday because I kept agreeing with stuff that Fergus was saying. I feel a bit uncomfortable about that. But it is kind of weird that she's only won 3 Grand Slams and yet been so dominant.
Yeah. 6-3 for Swiatek feels a little bit of
exactly, yeah. Because Swiatek has had a not great year. And yet It's all about the last 6 weeks for her, winning Cincinnati, and it transforms her year. Just like we said that her CV was transformed. Of course, winning Grand Slams is what 99%.
Yeah, but it's not a coincidence, if you like go back on the losses that Arena has had at the slams this year, you can argue that she like heavily choked all of them. So
yeah, I think Madison in the Australian Open final, she just took a while to wake up in that final and had to play catch up as a result. I thought her first set was really underwhelming, and then you put yourself in a perilous position. You're serving, I think, at 5-6, for example, in the deciding set. I personally didn't think of that as a choke. I think she might have lost some concentration against Andreeva as well. I guess Anisimova. Yeah, Coco for sure. There were some issues there that she just wasn't dealing with, the situation, conditions especially. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be as hard as you in terms of the choking. There may even be physical issues.
You could argue. I
Which
just
one?
said you could argue that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is really like my opinion or something. I think you could definitely argue. And if you look at these three as a whole picture, like, yeah, she doesn't have a slam this year despite being the best player on tour. But it's pretty clear why as well. Like, it's not just something that happened because, one tournament she runs into a player that just, I don't know, has the best day ever.
Yeah.
Like, that's not really the story. The story is that she was in the position to win at least 2 of 3, and she didn't step up.
Arena, her draw looked okay for the first 4 rounds, and it still looks okay. And I think maybe even Buxa is more favorable than Mertens, right?
Yeah, Arena has a really good record against Mertens, though.
Okay.
I don't remember what it is, but it's like 8-2 or 7-2. But yeah, I mean, it's better to play Buxa for sure. It's also way better to play Buxa than Vondrousova, which is a bit of a talking point here, I suppose.
Yeah, we're looking at 2 matches, by the way, that you and I watched. Pretty much watched start to finish. You got Rybakina Raducanu that you and Fergus were on a live stream for an hour and 2 minutes, and I watched. I don't know if it was start to finish, but I watched most of the Vondrousova Paolini match. And I found it very entertaining. I think the 6-1 scoreline in the second set, if you didn't watch it, is a bit unfair on Jasmine because it was super close. There was a service game she had at 4-1, which basically really sort of killed the match off. But it was a 10 or 15 match with half a dozen deuces and game points followed by break points, etc., etc. It was just an entertaining affair. It was a 50-50 beforehand, and in so many ways, the match panned out that way, despite that straight sets win for Vondrousova. And like I said before the tournament, Jasmine, Vondrousova, Layla, Emma, Coco, even Coco, yeah. These players, you just have no idea. They could, with just one result, propel themselves to the quarters or the semis, depending on their draw. With another slightly off day, they're gone. They're out. And that's, I don't think that's exactly rocket science and not even that controversial.
Honestly, I don't really know what to say about that. Yeah.
You can just agree and say United have got a VAR that's just gone against them for a penalty.
You'd feel that players like Sabalenka, they should be like that too. And yet she's not. Yet she's making quarters and semis every single time. That's kind of insane. Yeah. Rybakina is not in the same boat, but now that she's in the 4th round, still one tough obstacle to clear actually before Sabalenka. Like Vondrousova, at least, she has a tricky game, right? I don't know how it's going to work out.
For Rybakina. 3rd round M, I know she won comfortably, and I'm sure Jake Davies is smiling in the chat about that outcome.
Yeah.
Just not because he has any favoritism or agenda. It's just like, he's obviously got this idea that Emma's just
he wanted to be right. Yeah. He also texted me yesterday, like showing some of the messages that he sent to me earlier, and like, oh, you see, I was correct, but he was, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but tough draw for Rybakina anyway, but she really, she just outclassed Emma, right?
Pretty much, yeah. That's also a playstyle thing, I think. When Elena is playing somebody like Iga, there's that weight of shots, the angle work that Iga can like come up with, and just get her off balance a bit more. I don't really know what Emma is supposed to do. Vondrousova has all that variety, the lefty angles as well. Yeah,
Return better. That's one thing that she could do, and she can do. No,
I don't think she can return that much better. Like, was she returning poorly yesterday?
Didn't see lots of the match, so I'm
Yeah, I
actually.
mean,
I'm listening to. Oh, that's a terrible return.
definitely not. I mean, she especially in the first set. There were a couple of games when she still like steps into the second serve return of Rybakina, but Elena just comes up with like some random, really good shot of the right of the bounce. Going down on her knees. I mean, yeah, it's. I don't think there's much to improve on in that performance from Raducanu. I just don't think she was able to show anything. She literally had no space to do anything in that match. And I think I even said it like very clearly yesterday that if I was out there on the court, I think the match would be pretty much the same, because it doesn't matter who was there. Like, there was a person with a racket. That's all that we can say really about Emma's performance there.
Yeah, again, music to the ears, I think, of Jake, because that sort of fits how he saw that match going before it began, and sees it going 98 times out of 100, I imagine. And yeah, fair enough. Oakley Dokley, move on down, Johnny boy, to Pegula Lee. I mean, Pegula's, doing all right, because I don't think she's been playing great for the last 12 months, maybe Bad Homburg aside.
We're not going to start that again.
No, we're not.
No, I mean, by now, definitely not. I think the spring, you were just totally wrong to say it. But by now, yeah, sure. I mean, it's not the same level as the last North American hardcourt swing. Yeah. No.
Krejcikova, that was also a very entertaining match, which I saw large parts of against Navarro. Navarro 3-love up in the decider. But it didn't. Again, there's been a few matches recently where someone's been a breakup, and I haven't felt confident that they're going to get over the line. And I felt the same about Emma yesterday, because it was just too close a match, and her serve was under threat as well. So Barboda just played really well. It was just a fun match with some interesting patterns, and I think both players played a pretty good level. I don't think Emma was that bad in the third set from 3-love down. Barboda's just going to make you hit another ball. She's going to hit deep consistently. And eventually Emma, I guess, maybe did crack slightly, but it was just a fun match to enjoy. Townsend, this is a match a result I woke up to. I don't know when it happened. By the way, I'm going to say I woke up to it. It could have been 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. I don't know when it happened.
No. It
was middle of the night,
late at night. It was the last women's match, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good.
I was watching Tim Fritz, and I was just like, half awake.
I was saying it. I just thought someone's going to say, "What, you went to bed at 7 o'clock, John, or something?" But no, it was anyway. I saw the result this morning, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well done, Townsend. You can produce. There's no doubt about that." But I have sort of been quietly saying it for a couple of months now that Mida has just gone off the boil after that unbelievable spell she had in February, March that culminated in winning Indian Wells. Just not quite going as far in tournaments as you'd expect, and it's happened again here.
Taylor has probably one of the most unique games on the tour right now in terms of the singles, which makes it quite tricky. And Mira, for the last 2-3 months, she obviously has not looked like a Grand Slam champion. She will get there eventually. In fact, I might make a big prediction right now and just say she's going to win one next year, because it feels very real. It feels very, very achievable.
She's
last few months.
She could not win another match for the rest of the year, and she's made a huge leap forward, winning 2 1,000 titles, and where did she get to at the French quarters? Maybe 4th round.
Yeah, in terms of the slams, she hasn't really made that big leap. She lost to.
But she's broken into the top 10. I think she wasn't in the top 10 at the beginning of the year, and comfortably inside the top 10, and she probably make the WTA finals as well, unless she has a real collapse. But just a little underwhelmed the last couple of months, and that can happen. But winning a slam at some point, probably in the next 12 months does feel about right, but we'll see. Krejcikova, though, will be licking her lips, and a potential quarterfinal and maybe even semi-final, just looking at this now. Krejcikova, Pegula, for example, and I'm not saying that Lee can't pose a threat to Jessica, but wow, a Grand Slam semi-final. She just happens when you least expect it.
It's a very volatile section for sure. Honestly, other than An Lee, I wouldn't be surprised with any quarterfinalist here.
This is Arena's section, right? So Arena, right? Yeah, exactly. So Arena, let's say Arena, Rybakina, Vondrousova, possibly in that order. Although I'm the same as you, I have got Rybakina beating Arena. Or actually, I've got Rybakina in the final, playing Swiatek in my bracket.
Same.
Oh, United have scored. Great. Yeah, exactly. But I've got Swiatek winning the tournament as well.
Same.
Yeah, it's not wild. I think you'd have to sort of make a good case for Rybakina winning it. Probably
I think Sabalenka has a much better shot at beating Swiatek if
yeah, exactly. In terms of the final, if it's Swiatek, Sabalenka, for example, and we're projecting that final right now, and you said I think Sabalenka's winning it, I probably wouldn't even ask any questions. I go, yeah, fine. If you also said I think Swiatek's winning, I also don't ask any questions. And yeah, if it's
with the bracket, like with the flow of it when you're picking it, and you get to a Rybakina Swiatek final, you kind of cannot go Rybakina right now.
Right, unless I don't know, Swiatek has 3 withdrawals or something, and Rybakina, beats everyone 6-0, 6-1 or something. But even then, I still think you go, well, Iga's going to be fresh.
I mean, withdrawals aren't bad, It's like,
well, yeah, I just think they're all right. They're all right. Maybe for men, especially with the 5-set scenario. But actually, there is something I want to. I'm going to go off at a tangent here before I forget. Are we? Yeah, we aren't quite done on the women's side. We've got some women's matches to come. We'll finish on the men's tangent actually in a moment. Just quickly, women's matches to come. We've got Coco Gauff against Fritz coming up on the channel later. A, does the match interest you? And B, Fritz can win that, right? I guess. Just because Gauff is not playing great.
But who cares? Like, do you know how Magdalena Frank plays? Like, can you tell me anything about her playstyle?
No.
Yeah.
Can you?
I mean, she hits with 10 kilometers an hour on both her strokes. She like slices the ball, tries to get into like a grindy contest. Has I guess a slightly okayish serve, but like literally her best. I think she's at her best on like grass or something slick, something fast, simply because she grinds chips. I think she's like, I don't know, Jordan Thompson kind of on grass, but of course without the big serve.
Ghosty, I'm going to answer this question first, and then we'll bring it back.
Which slam is what, Mira?
But just quickly, the thing is, she's a contender at all 4. That's one of the beauties of predicting her to win a slam, because she's adept on all 3 surfaces. No.
Yeah, I wasn't really. That was a thought I had yesterday, actually, or maybe today when I woke up and I saw that result from Townsend, and I was just thinking, okay, sure, Mira isn't that good right now, but let's make a big prediction that she's going to win a slam. And I didn't even stop to think about which one. Probably not Wimbledon. Probably one of the other 3. But
really, not
yeah,
Wimbledon?
I mean, it can be all of them.
I mean, she's maybe not got that super aggressive game that you'd maybe say was suited to Wimbledon a bit more, but she's had good results there. I think she got to the 4th round before losing to Madison maybe a couple of years ago. I also think her slice
this year as well.
I mean, yeah,
it doesn't really matter. That's why I didn't even stop to think about it. I was just like, she probably might win a slam next year, but I didn't care which. It really could be all of them.
Also, there is one other thing I wanted to highlight with her, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, her 2 1,000 title wins this year. One was obviously Indian Wells, which is known for being slow and gritty. The other one was in the Middle East, which I'm guessing was a quicker surface. Or
Dubai.
Okay, and surface-wise, is that equally slow or?
No, it's very fast.
So there you go. So it's a great other thing, and a really good thing to say that you can win on fast and slow hard courts. I think as much as even winning on clay and grass in a way. So yeah, that's that. I think it's not wild to suggest that she's going to win a slam. Yeah, maybe you're putting yourself out there a bit by saying within the next 12 months, but whatever. Okay, you've talked me out of Fritz, given that her game style, because that doesn't sound like a player that Gauff, even an under the weather Gauff in terms of her form. And maybe she just came up against 2 players, but particularly in Tomjanovic, who was just playing unbelievably well. I think Donna was not having to play that well to force the first set tiebreak before she went down in the second. But okay, Osaka, Kasatkina, that's a real clash of styles.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know if I have much to say. Yeah, it's pretty obvious how they're both very different. Yeah. Naomi has been in better shape.
Osaka,
and if she is going to if she's going to turn around her career again, return to her Grand Slam winning days, she has to be winning matches like this. Like we've arrived at a point where she literally cannot be losing this. And she probably also has to be beating Gauff in this form. So I think it's just all pressure, all expectations for Osaka now.
Yeah,
And hopefully she
quarterfinals.
can
Yeah.
handle it.
I
Yeah.
don't know who Goff or Osaka will play in the quarters. I guess they're going to be playing someone we just mentioned. Oh no, we didn't mention them.
Well,
But Noskova Mukova is a fun match, by the way. And maybe Noskova's the favourite to get to the quarters out of that 4 players. I think.
Sure.
I think she beats
Kostic has
Mukova.
also been pretty weird. I mean, she has all the tools and loses in the first round at Wimbledon and on Garros to pretty random opponents.
Kostic Goff. That was a horrendous match in Australia 18 months ago.
Yeah, everybody remembers that.
Okay. I want to get a quick men's 5-set comment out from myself, probably even more than you, because I know where you're going to come on that one, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Does Iga... This is Iga's toughest match so far, but that's... Well, actually, Lehman's turned out to be a lot tougher than I thought it would. But yeah, Kalinskaya, can she do something against Iga?
Yeah, I mean, she hits flat. She takes it early. Why not?
Yeah.
It is a night match. It should be a bit slower. She did lose to her in Cincinnati, but it was still pretty close. I'd imagine it will be pretty competitive. Yeah. We'll see if that Layman's second round is more, one dip that doesn't really matter much, or is it actually a problem? The draw for Iga isn't easy. Like Kalinskaya, then Alexandrova or Zygmunt, both opponents so different and yet very
Zygmunt,
dangerous.
not a problem. You saw the match in Poland a couple of years ago between those two, or 18 months
That
ago.
was a final after Zygmunt played 6 hours the day before. She literally played 6 hours. I'm not kidding. She played 3 hours in her quarterfinal and then 3 hours in her semi.
It was Owen won the final, by the way. Something like
yes, but she played 6 hours the day before. That was due to rain, of course. But yeah, literally 6 hours. And they're both tricky. They're both tricky in different ways. And Anisimova,
Iga's beaten Zygmunt. Yeah, Alexandrova, Kalinskaya. Yeah, and then Anisimova.
Like
I think
big hitters. Anisimova also can fall into the Russian big hitters category.
Yeah, I actually think if she gets to that quarterfinal, I feel pretty confident about Iga beating Anisimova. We all know what happened at Wimbledon. We all know the circumstances behind that, but I still think that there's a gap there that final probably showed us. But yeah, I can see Alexandrova and Kalinskaya taking sets off her, and if you're in a third set, then anything can happen.
I think people just expect that the Wimbledon final was like that, and that every single match from Anisimova and Swiatek right now is going to be the same. That's just stupid to me.
Yeah, of course not. I'm not suggesting that.
I'm not saying it was you, but there's a lot of takes like that.
Okay. Blum, 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 blum. Oh, yeah. So I know your take on it, but I'm... Pam Shriver tweeted, this is why we shouldn't basically be playing 5 sets at slams because of Shelton's injury and Djokovic's back issues, basically. And I think if you're going to make a case for 5 setters, that's an unusual direction in terms of an unusual case to make, because I think that we could look at the calendar and we could look at the amount of tennis they're playing outside of the slams, because the slams is not the problem in terms of either bringing money into the sport or the entertainment, I think. And the figures certainly seem to show that. So I'm more concerned with the amount of tennis that's being played. And I don't want to see Alcaraz pulling out of Rome as he did a couple of years ago because he wants to keep himself for the French Open, or other players that, for example, like we had the situation with the calendar in Canada and Cincinnati this year, for both men's and women's players, by the way. And obviously men play the 5 sets. I absolutely adore the 5-set format. I know you do too, and I think it's should be a non-starter. I just found this particular case. If you're going to make a case, then fine. But we know that the numbers of eyes on the slams is huge, and I know it's not just because they play 5 sets; it's because of the magnitude of the occasion, and we know that these tournaments just mean more than anything else. Bon Open aside, but yeah, I don't know if you want to just add something to that, other than the fact that I know you prefer the 5-set format, of course.
5 sets is just non-negotiable. I think we see it at every slam. I say it at every slam. Like, just think of how many women's classics we've had so far and how many men's classics, how many memorable matches. And I think it's pretty clear that allowing the match to go for that long, even if it might not be the best fit, I don't know, for modern audiences, but people are actually watching these in the stadiums. Yeah. People are actually watching this on TV. And it's actually one of the main things about like the magic of the slams, to turn into a match 2-2 in the fifth or something like that and watch it until the end. I don't know, Brooks beat Koboli the other day. I only watched the tiebreak and the last game before the tiebreak because before that, some other 5-setters were happening, like Ridi Serundolo, like Mike Hachanov, that I was more interested in. But that's kind of part of it. Like that's basically the thing you want to have. Whereas on the women's side, it's just so much tougher for a match to become that sort of a classic. And it's not a question of quality. It's not a question of the tour being in any way superior to the other. That's just literally the format for me. I think we obviously aren't doing this at the US Open, but at the European Slams, we do the last ball drops show. And especially when that happens, I'm just like every single time, we enter the men's side, five setters, amazing thrillers to talk about. And then on the women's, you're more like, yeah, so this favorite looked good, in their 1 hour and 30-minute match. And obviously that's something we're watching the entire year on the tour. It's not like we hate these matches, but the ultimate tests, like the ultimate, I don't know, special factor of the slams is best of 5 sets. And, I'm even a proponent of women also playing best of 5 at slams. Well, it's definitely more of an acceptable option for me than going do 3 sets as a whole. I still hate the fact that Wimbledon doubles is no longer best of 5. I don't know. It's just, it's just what it is for me. In terms of the injuries, that's one of the main reasons that people are mentioning. I don't know. Like sometimes these guys, I just feel like they don't stop and actually think about what I've just said. How many classics do you remember from this US Open already on the women's side, other than like Goff Tomljanovic, which I hear was very good? Like how many actual, matches that you're going to remember in 2 years' time? And I think the answer is not many. And again, it's not a thing of me being less of a WTA watcher, even if I am. It's not a thing of the tour being or the players being in any way, less good. It's literally just the format that I think makes the men's event stand out even more.
Yeah. I actually don't even find the physical, as in like the injury side of it. I mean, we're talking about Djokovic, by the way, who's 38 years old, winning a 4-set match.
Djokovic is a ridiculous argument, and Shelton is too. Shelton fell while playing.
Right. Yeah.
That can happen in a 10-minute match,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, exactly.
There is an argument to be made sometimes. Like definitely, we've seen, I don't know, Roland Garros. There were so many withdrawals beforehand. And when then somebody is talking about that,
I'm more interested in the rest of the calendar.
Yeah, it wasn't about best of 5, right? Because it was withdrawals pre-tournament. They were more like talking, there's a lot of strain on the body. PTPA is giving you all these figures that in 2025, a match is like, I don't know, 2.5 times as tough on the body as it was in 2015. Probably that's true scientifically. I cannot deny that. So even in these cases, I mean, I can get the argument maybe. But Shelton, I mean, he fell, injured his shoulder. That can happen in any 5-minute match. Djokovic, as you said, he's struggling with something all the time virtually. Also, that's a player who didn't even compete since Wimbledon. So you could even make the case that, it's tough for him because he didn't have the accurate warm-ups, right? So I don't know. It definitely doesn't feel like the examples that Pam used are the ones that make sense.
No. Oakley dokley, that brings this to a close. Enjoy the tennis that's coming up in an hour. Also enjoy Manchester United's dominant thrashing of 1-0 over Burnley as it is now.
Who scored?
It was an own goal.
No, I was hoping you're gonna say, one of the new guys, give them some confidence, but no, own goal.
Yeah, indeed. Cool. Problem because we combine ATP and WTA. Is this only a problem because we combine ATP and WTA? I'm not quite sure what that means. Sorry, Ghosty. You might be making a really salient point, but yeah. All right.
No, I actually think, by the way, on this, like, if I get what Ghosty is saying, tennis, like, one of the main assets of tennis as a sport is that we are so like intertwined. There's no other sport really where so many.
I was
people
thinking
watch
about that a
women's
minute ago.
tennis. Like
Maybe
women's sports.
athletics, but it's a once every 4 years moment.
Yeah, you're right. Athletics is pretty much same level as well. Like the main
Yeah.
stars, they tend to get the same attention. You've got
Yeah.
like, I don't know, Tiam, or that's 400 meters,
But
whatever her name is.
Football, rugby, cricket.
Yeah.
What about even other individual sports that were boxing? Yeah,
There's nothing, like almost literally nothing.
99%
Table
of the eyes.
tennis, probably you could say it's comparable, more or less.
Okay.
I don't think it is though. Like you've never had a star like, I don't know, Serena Williams in table tennis, and you have so many, Serena Williams like stars on the men's side of the sport. So I think out of everything, maybe athletics you could definitely compare, but there's no other sport that has this much influence in women's sports, and that's amazing.
Two
We
watch
should
alongs.
definitely propel that.
Today. One of them is a women's match. One of them is a men's match. Coco Gauff against Magdalena Frech. It was a toss-up between that one and Noskova versus Mukova. I think Noskova-Mukova in many ways is going to be the more intriguing and exciting match. Could be, if it delivers. But you just mentioned Coco Gauff, and she's a star. So that's another reason for doing that match. And the other match we're going for, actually, in terms of stars and not stars, I mean, Sinner and Shapovalov are the stars, if you like, but we're going to do common. Well, I've actually got Sinner, Shapovalov, I think, in the headline, but I think basically the eyes of the team will be watching Wong against Andrei Rublev, which, I think could be a long one. Could be. What can Wong do? I know we just spoke about it a minute ago, but what can Wong do to really
We've
help?
just seen that Boyer match. I think it's going to be pretty much the same.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to get back to United Burnley, and everyone else can enjoy the rest of their days. We'll speak to you all again very, very soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.